We have our first panel of the day. This panel is going to be scaling beyond yourself. Ooh, I'm excited to know what that means. Scaling. Okay. Please welcome Kathy Lewis to the stage, and she's going to bring up her panelists. Let's go, Kathy. Ready? Oh, go ahead and have the whole panel come up and you can introduce them.
Okay, we have Jody Florman coming up, and Lance and Tracy Smith are going to be coming up. I think we might have one too many chairs, but that's okay. That's all right. So as they're coming up, I want to share my story. The topic, like Corbin said, is scaling beyond yourself, which is what I'm doing right now, because this is not my comfort zone, and so I am 100% scaling beyond myself, but this is what I need to do to take my business to the next level. And I'm so excited about this panel, because scaling beyond yourself and building leaders is the difference between having a business and having freedom. And this is what I want. So my story is my name is Kathy Lewis. I am a mom, a retired homeschool mom, hallelujah. It was amazing, but I'm retired now. I have 6 children, and I have 12 grandchildren, and another one on the way. My husband is a retired Marine Corps combat vet with PTSD, medically retired. He works in the oil fields of North Dakota, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. This business is the vehicle that I am going to use to retire my husband. This is literally everything for us. Yes. So when you, Lance talked about having a why that will make you cry. This why makes me cry. And so if any of you are ever worried, like, I don't want to talk to her, please talk to everyone, because I am so grateful, beyond grateful, that I have this opportunity. I've been a stay-at-home mom, 1-income family. We've been on the struggle bus, and my husband's working his butt off in the oil fields in North Dakota as a 54-year-old man working with 20 and 30-year-olds. Thank goodness for the products. So as far as the products go, I'm just going to briefly touch on that, and then I'm going to tell a little bit of my business story, actually more of my business story. So the products, I've been a holistic, health, proactive mom for 20 plus years. Bone broth, sourdough bread, herbal tinctures, herbal smoothies, kombucha, all the things my kids grew up. They now carry, I've passed the baton. They're making kefir and chicken broth with heads and feet in it. So this is who I am. I have had the cabinet full of supplements, high quality supplements, from my naturopath, my herbalist, my acupuncturist, the apothecary down the street. So I'm not a foreigner to high quality supplements, but honestly, when I would open that cabinet, it was overwhelming. And I am so grateful for the simplicity of these products. And you wouldn't think that I would get results, because for 20 years I've been taking great products and eating really amazingly well. However, my digestion, which is my weak link, has never been good, no matter what I've done, until 3. My digestion's better than it's ever been in my entire life. My skin is better than it's ever been in my entire life. So something good is going on within. So that's my product story. My business story is very interesting. It goes back actually 35 years when Lance was building a business. And this is surreal that I have him on my panel right now, because 35 years ago, I worked in the order processing department of one of the largest multi-level marketing companies in the world. My dad got me the job because he was one of the treasurers for the company. I knew nothing about what I was doing. I walked in every single day, I put on a headset, and took orders. This was back before the internet or anything. Took these orders. It was a very eye-opening experience, because as I was taking the orders, I would hear the dogs barking in the background, the kids playing, the doorbells ringing, and I was like, what are these people doing? Like, whatever they're doing, this is freedom. Because this was before people worked from home, and I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, but someday I'm gonna find out what they're doing. So fast forward a number of years, and I met my husband, we got married, went on our honeymoon, get back from our honeymoon, and he puts in a cassette tape. And he says, listen to this. And I listened and listened, and I was like, this sounds like that company I worked for. He said, no, just keep listening. So I listened and listened, and I was like, this for sure sounds like that company I worked for. He's like, can you just listen to the end? Because I'm like, Holly, I don't. The submissive wife thing, whatever. And so anyway, I tried to listen to the end, but I couldn't. I was like, this is 100% this company that I worked for in the past. My dad was one of the treasurers. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know what it is. And he sheepishly said that he signed us up. And I was like, amazing! So I actually was the person, Holly, that wanted to be a network marketer apparently when I was young. Because I was like, this is the best thing ever. I've been wanting to know what this is all about. So that company we were with for 5 years. I made hardly any money, but every single day I would put in a cassette tape and I went to events. And my belief in the business and my belief in myself grew to a 10 out of 10. I took 10 years off to raise my kids, make a bunch of kombucha, homeschool my kids, and then I was like, I gotta get back in. So I joined another company, and that company, I learned the mechanics of how to build a business, how to reach out, how to follow up, how to enroll. And I made decent money and built a decent team, but I plateaued because I wasn't building leaders. So I was a leader myself, but I wasn't yet a leader of leaders. And that is the difference between having a business and a bunch of followers and having freedom. So then, I phased out of that company, and then Holly DeMott started posting something that didn't look like her other company. And she was one of my favorite trainers in the other company, and I was like, whatever she's doing, I gotta find out what it is. So I gave her a call, Dr. Alicia got on the phone with me as well, and I was like, this is it. This is it. So then enters 3. And I have, because of my team and this company, I have been able to reach the income level in 2 years that took me 8 years to reach in my previous company. I'm super excited about this panel because really, if you want freedom, you need to be able to develop leaders. Otherwise, you're just creating another job for yourself. So with that, my questions are over here. And we're gonna start with Jody, and I love that Jody's on this panel because she and I are both 3-star pros, and we're like, what are we gonna teach? But I love it because you are at the point right now of like, I need to build leaders. So I wanna hear your story. How did you know that you were ready to start building leaders?
Hi everybody, I'm Jody Florman. I'm from Sedona, Arizona, and I'm a star pro. And I have never been in this space, so I'm a newbie. And when I started this whole thing, because of Gary, I didn't start working until about a year and a half ago. So all of this is pretty foreign to me, and I'm learning as I go. And I don't always think like other people. So. I knew that I had to change my strategy about 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm a year and a half in, 3 or 4 months ago, I realized that I've hit my warm market. I've gotten people to sign up, it went really well, and then it went completely flat. And I realized that if you don't change your mind about what you're doing or change yourself about what you're doing, then you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again, and that's insanity. So I started to change my point of view. I started to look at who I was attracting. I started to change myself. I'm being coached. I'm in a business coaching program. I am changing my mind every day about who I am and what I want and what I'm attracting.
Awesome. And that's how you attract who you are, so.
Yep. Who you are.
So what is your process now for spotting leaders, now that you want to attract leaders?
So like Lisa Barron's, I was inspired to make a list. And I'm going to read you some of the items on my list. She touched on a few. Somebody who is dynamic, driven, hungry, wants to make a difference in the world or build something meaningful, is willing to work, outgoing, a good storyteller, curious, engaging, good energy, well-connected, and willing to grow, coachable, and courageous. And that's a short list. And I realized that in order to attract those people, I had to become that person. Amen. Right? So last night we were to dinner. We went out to dinner and I was with another team. They had nothing, they're not my team, they were a different team. And there's this waitress, and one of the people at the table had started to talk to her, and I am telling you that that list was that woman, right? And so it was already in process, but by the end of our meal, she had committed to a Zoom. She had put it in her calendar. She couldn't walk away from the table, and that is the person that you're looking for. Somebody you can engage when you're not even thinking about it. That's the important thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when we talked last night, Jody and I, she said that now that she is looking for leaders, her whole brain is like, it's perked up, and she sees the world differently, and she sees people differently. So I love it. Thank you so much. All right, and I'm going to give these next questions to both of you because you work as a team, so you can decide who wants to answer. So, next question, how do you coach and hold leaders accountable without micromanaging them?
So let me just kind of back up a little bit. I'm one of those, I like to begin with the end in mind. How many of you here would like to have 20,000 or 10,000 people on your right leg and 10,000 people on your left leg? Okay, if you didn't raise your hand, you need to go and do the math and the compliment. That would be a good thing. A lot of people get involved in this industry and they say I'm a leader. We use the term leader actually very loosely here because really the amount of leaders is kind of a smaller number. Back in the day when we used to fill these arenas, people say, there's 15,000 people in the arena. I say, yeah, but there's like 300 leaders. That's what filled the arena. And people say, would you rather have the arena or the people? I say, well, if the people all quit, those 300 would fill it again. The leadership of 3 that's right here in this room. I know some of them can't make it, but we want strong leaders. And so to begin with it in mind, what you've got to do is you've got to be a leader who leads leaders who leads leaders. That's how you fill arenas. A lot of you, the biggest mistake a lot of people make is they get in and they lead followers. And it's easy to lead followers, but if you're leading followers, you're going to get a group that will go to about 75 to 100 people and it's going to cap off. And you're going to wear yourself out and you're going to be tired and it's going to be tough. And you get stuck at a rank, probably 3 stars the rank kind of here, that you get stuck at. And it's frustrating leading followers. And I'm going to tell you this, I love everyone who comes to my business. A lot of people come in because they come in, I had an upline, I used to call them the pizza eaters. They come in because they like the pizza, they like the crowd, they like to be around, but they're not the ones that are actually out there building. And I'm going to say something that took me a long time to, and this isn't to discard anybody, because I think anybody who comes to my team, I want to add value to them, and I hope that their time with me, I can able to add value to it. But it's not the people who don't get in your business that mess you up, it's the people who get involved and take all your time and do nothing that mess you up. I'm just going to be honest. If you're, I remember we had a conversation one time. We had somebody come over to our house, and they were coming over to counsel. And I said, "These guys haven't shown a plan in the last 2 years. I like these guys; they're friends. But let's have them over and have a bottle of wine because we're just wasting our time here. This isn't business. This is a friendship. This is a social club." And so, as far as not the question, not how do you not micromanage them? I'm looking for leaders. If I have to micromanage them, they go in the pizza eater category fairly quickly with me. And again, I'll reach out and I'll try to build depth. If I have somebody who's in there for community, I'm going to find somebody, hey, do you know somebody who's making so much money or is so ambitious that they probably wouldn't do this? Good, give me their number. Let me talk to them. I want to get out of that. And I can tell you some of the biggest teams we've ever built in our career have been several pizza eaters that just, got courageous enough just to make one contact to the next one, so never give up on people. But I will tell you this, the goal is to have quantity at the beginning and then go to quality. My friend Paul Pilzer used to come and speak all the time. He said, once you go after quantity first. First, you need to go sell 15 to 20 plants a month. After that, you can start to get picky on who you show it to. But you have to hit the quantity first before you can get the quality. And so I'm looking for leaders. I don't have to go micromanage. I'm looking for people that when my phone rings, I'm there to support them. I'm there to edify them with their team. I'm there to build up their team. And it's kind of like raising kids. You can do it, raise all your kids the same way, but they all kind of turn out different based on their personalities and what they're looking for and what their drive is. And so I don't micromanage. That's a long answer to a short question. Sorry.
No, that was so good. So my takeaway from that is if you're feeling like you're micromanaging, you should invite them over for wine and cards. And just be like, I'm done with the business.
Well, you should have so many legs. I mean, if you don't have 6 or 7 or 8 legs that are here, you don't have enough legs. You have to have enough people in place. And a lot of times, if you have a smaller group of your leading followers, they love to take all your time. But if there's not progress, I look at them to say, if I'm getting dressed up, somebody's going to pay for it. We're going to go pick up. If you don't have a prospect, let's pick up the phone and make some phone calls. We're here. I don't want to talk about the weather. We can do that another time.
That's amazing. Thank you. That's awesome.
I think it's super important what you just said too, is we are a buy-in area, so if you're new, we talk a lot about 2 legs, but we're really, you need to do your enrollment tree, right? So everyone you enroll, so when you draw out your business, it should be, a flat with each enrollment leg, right? And Lance and I have always known we will never have a secure business until we have 5 leaders per enrollment leg. Because when you have 5, that business will keep going. But until you have 5, you may have to replace them during time. But until you have 5, that will never be a secure business. And so even though we collapse it into a binary, you have to draw out a pair, a personal enrollment tree. It's very important.
Are you talking 5 on each side?
5 per enrollment leg. You need to have 5 leaders per leg to make sure that's a secure business.
I love that. I like numbers, like solid numbers to goals. Cool, thank you. Okay, another question for Lance and Tracy. What was the moment you realized your team could run without you, and how did you get there? So like some of your leaders, this might kind of merge into what you just said, but some of your leaders, when did you realize they could just run without you?
I think the first time when we were building that we realized that is that when we would go in to do an opportunity presentation, they would already be 3 to 5 people in depth of new people before we even got there. So it had grown that much and it kept going. And so that's when we realized, for me, that's when we had the leaders.
Yeah, like I said, we've never been the smartest ones out there, but we've always been very consistent. And so when we got up and did our initial run at the beginning, I think the first time we actually got below 15 plants a month is because we had a bunch of promotional trips and we just couldn't get them in. But we've always ran 15 to 20 times a month, and you get 5 or 10 people there, and it's a math equation after that. I mean, we got to a point, just as a side note, I think year 15 we were in, Tracy's dad got sick and passed away of cancer, which was about a year. And that year number 15, we spent a lot of time with her dad and kind of backed off from speaking, and our business blew up. It was the fastest growth we've ever had is when we stepped aside, which gave me a little complex. But what it did is it's kind of like clearing the top of the forest. It allows the new trees to stand up. And what happened is when we stepped aside, a lot of those leaders, they duplicated what we were doing with the activity. And when we stepped aside, they all stepped up. And I'm like, man, how crazy is a business like this that we can be in a business where it literally can outgrow anything that you ever do. But yeah, you're looking for a leader that's actually, I tell people, I'm looking for people to do what I do when I'm there when I'm not there.
Especially when we build distance.
Especially when we build distance. If I go to distance and they only show up, and do work while I'm there, and then they do nothing for the next 30 days until I go back again, I don't stay there very long, because I can do that in my backyard. I look for people to do what I do when I'm there with them, when I'm not there with them, and those are the leaders I look for.
That's amazing. When you said step aside, it's great when your leaders do more when you step aside. It's interesting because I'm personally enrolled by Holly, and when I first got started, I'd reach out, Holly DeMott, and I'd reach out, and she wouldn't answer me, and I'm like, well, And so I'm like, well, I better just figure it out myself. And that was the best thing she could have done for me, not answer all my questions and micromanage me. She stepped aside and let me figure it out myself, and I have grown so much not having her hold my hand. But she leads by example. She goes and does the things, is what I'm seeing you say.
I gotta tell you one quick story. I sat with a mentor one time when I was kind of doing the business, and he'd built a massive organization. I mean, with probably 150,000, 200,000 people on his team. And I said, tell me how you break these big leaders. He said, well, every year I sit down and I decide who they're going to be. I commit to them and make commitments. We go spend a lot of time working with those guys. He said, I go spend a year working over here, and then one of my big leaders will break over here. I said, what? He said, yeah, I go spend my time over here, and then another one will break over there. I said, well, what happened to the people you spend all your time with? He said, well, I don't do much because they're waiting for me to go do it for them. But the ones on the side that see what I'm doing will duplicate. And that's where my biggest and best leaders come from. I bet if you ask a lot of leaders up here, you probably didn't have a whole lot of your upline come do a bunch of meetings for you. I mean, first time we had an upline come to a meeting for we had 1,600 people at it, because we just didn't, my upline quit. And so I'm not telling you to leave your groups, I'm telling you to set the example for your group and go work with the folks. And if you can get traction with the groups you're working with, that's great, but a lot of them will rely on you, because your goal as a leader isn't to be the leader, your goal is to edify the leaders you're working with. So when you go in, it's not to say, hey, I'm the big dog here. It's here to say, I'm working with this guy, he's the big dog, and you pass the baton on to them, so you're always giving the credibility out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the epitome of actually leading from the front, right there. That's amazing. Okay, I want at the end for us, all of you, to just give us one last, what is the first step that we can do what is the first step someone can take today, as we leave, to start building leaders on their team? So I wanted each one of you to answer, out of the gate, what's the first thing that we can do to start building leaders?
Well, I identified somebody who's actually working and then support them. So sometimes I'm providing them with a video, or information from the back end of the Spark Global channel on WhatsApp, so that they know where information is coming from and they have a place to launch from.
True. I think for me, I love always widening my circle. So I always picture a group of people talking, and you always leave space for someone to fit in. It's super important to me because I love that. I love community. And so I kind of picture it as I'm building a puzzle, and leaders are the frame. You always do the frame first, don't you? Right? And then you fill it in, and you fill it in with team members. And so what's so cool about how we're building our puzzles is that you're always leaving a space that you can actually enlarge the frame and have a bigger business. So that's how I picture it when I'm building my business, is that all the leaders are the frame and they keep in the whole team. And so it's so important to always, be able to increase your community by allowing people and always leave that space. And people will rise to that. They'll want it. And it may be in their time, or they may come in like Lisa. She was ready. she has the experience. She has that. And it's so amazing that she is able to be here, and she all of a sudden is just growing like crazy. I'm so proud of her for that. I think it's an amazing accomplishment. So.
Yeah, I would say, and Joe, you hit it. The number one thing is be the leader. It's all the biggest sell isn't out there. The biggest sell is you. You got. Would you want? What would it be like if you had 100 people like you in your group? Would you get a pay raise?
Yes.
What if this was a job and Danny was your boss? Would you get fired or would you get promoted? The biggest struggle isn't out there. The biggest struggle is getting us to do what we know we need to do. That's the biggest struggle. If you get on track and you throw enough things at people, you're going to have leaders that are going to show up. You're going to have leaders that are going to show up. And so I would say the number one thing is get you right. When you're right, the world is right. When people see somebody with a vision and they know where they're going, man, they want to jump on that train. And when you show up, you bring that vision, you bring that with you. So that would be number one. And the second thing is believe in your people. The words are so powerful. Words are so powerful, and people are so beaten up and beaten down. They don't get any good praise at work. That's why I like the recognition we have here and the things we do. But when you get a chance, tell your people how much you believe them. I ask people all the time, I said, who's your best leader? And they tell me, I said, when's the last time you told them? Tell them. I mean, tell them, build them up, let them know that they're great leaders, and believe in them more than they'll believe in themselves. We do that with our kids. Sometimes we look at adults and go, oh, they know they're good. No, they don't. Tell them. And tell them publicly. When they get on a Zoom and they've built you up and you're the leader and you're on the Zoom and you're talking to their person, don't spend your time talking about how great you are. Talk about how great they are. Tell them, I've been doing this for 38 years. And I'm telling you that Bob and Marcia right here, two of the best we've ever seen. And we're going to lock arms. We're going to build something amazing. And your name came up and we want you on the team with us. Okay, that's what's going to get them moving. That's what's going to get them moving. That's where you're going to get leaders.
I want to just say this because I'm so excited about this right now, right? We're USA, right? USA, this is like a big thing right now, and I believe that we are in the midst of a revival, but we're going into our 250th year to celebrate USA, right? Everything's going to be American. I'm getting chills thinking about it. Everything's going to be pro-American. Everything's going to be like surging and US and economy. Are you getting chills? Do you know what we're walking into? I don't know if you know, but I know because I've seen it. We've done this before. After 9/11, it was a huge US swell, and everyone wanted to be part. People wanted community. People talk about, oh, kids don't have the attention span. They do so. They listen to hours and hours and hours of podcasts. They want to learn. They want to be part. They want to develop culture. If you're not running right now, you're crazy. You're like, you should be running out of this event, knowing what's coming, because it's going to be huge. I promise you look back and you'll go, she told me. I'm telling you, this 250-year thing's big, 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 big. And the world goes as the U.S. goes. It's always been that way. We are in the perfect spots.
Alone, the mindset that from on stage here is being shouted out there is what is going to attract leaders to you. So if we have that kind of mindset, the leaders, we're going to attract them. And then get ready to run alongside and not drag and hold hands. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you.
That was a great panel. Awesome job. You know, one thing is I was sitting there listening to it, I like the challenges. I want to challenge everybody here tonight to go to your rooms. This is a working Friday night. I want you to get out your calendars. And I want you to book home meetings. I want you to get with your spouse and line up some home meetings. Not 2 weeks from now, not 3 weeks from now, not after Cabo.
Already did next Tuesday.
Beautiful. I want to challenge everyone to do that. Guys, the tide is coming. And a high tide will lift all the boats that are in the water. How do you get your boat in the water? You build your list, you contact by, you ship the plane, you follow through, and you start doing home meetings like your life depends on it. Again, 2 people show up, beautiful. Those 2 can turn to 2,000 really fast. You heard what Lance and Tracy were saying. So that's what I want to challenge everyone to do. Can we all raise our hand and commit to do that? We're going to book home meetings tonight. Get with your team. If you have a team here, get with your team. Say, let's all each do home meetings. You want to fill out when Holly and I come to town, or Lance and Tracy comes to town, or Greg and Lori come to town, or Holly and Mom comes to town, and you want to fill up a hotel. We used to do open meetings with this many people, and I'm talking no tables, just chairs to show the plan. You know how that happened? We would have 10 to 12 leaders in one town doing meetings 3 and 4 nights a week, and we would bring in our upline and put 500 people in a room. Home meetings lead to hotel events. Guys, it's just, if we can just turn the heat up a couple degrees, we're going to start baking. We just got to, or boiling. You know what is it to boil water 212 degrees? 232. See, it's been a long time there. Thank you, doctor. 100 degrees, we'll just go with Celsius. We're sitting at about 210 right now. We need to get to 234 and watch this thing percolate. So, awesome job.